Jesus Christ,
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Allegiance to Amen.
time is 9:38 a.m. here on July the 20th of 2021, and we begin this regular session of the Commissioners Court with item number 1. There's a motion by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Long. Any discussion, that being seen, all those in favor, motion passed unanimously. Item number 2. Nathan, you're looking at
I have 2 addendums, 4 wires, 1 benefit payment.
all right, there's a motion by Commissioner. Second by Commissioner Cook. I apologize. Motion by Kobe. Motion by Kobe, second by Cook. On this matter, I'm going to abstain from voting in relation to James Construction. Any discussions? All right. Some agenda items 3 through 8.
I'd like to hold 7 down to regular. And I'll move to approve items 3 through 27, excluding 7.
All right, there's a motion to approve 3 through 27 minus 7 by Commissioner Kobe, and then seconded by Commissioner Cook. All right. Any other? That was you. All right. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Now we'll move to the regular agenda and item number. If you guys would indulge me, we go to item number 36 because there is a correction there, and I would like to make that correction and vote. Item number 36, the corrected line item number should be 01. .0.00.040.00. Make that the motion that correct.
And that goes with 35.
I make the motion on 35 and 36.
So I'll second.
Yes, second by Commissioner Kobe. Any other discussion? In favor? Passes. Was that the only one? Now it's back to number 7.
So I pulled 7 because I'm not sure, I wasn't able to visit about it, but I think what we're doing, we were going to auction off this vehicle or sell it in some way, and yet we're moving it over to another department that already has some vehicles, but with low mileage. So I'm not sure why we would do that. And, thank you.
There are 4 people assigned to Officer Mercy Management. Just provide another vehicle. Disasters are just taking care of day-to-day things that need to be accounted for. So there's no intention at this point that this is a take-home vehicle. It's just sign it. Some staff. The director and the deputy director have take-home vehicles assigned to them 24/7. The other two non-exempt positions, Aubrey Holmes and Aubrey Sanders, there's one additional vehicle we have that they use during the day, take care of various OEM business. This other vehicle that OEM approach actually is vehicle consideration. So just to be totally transparent, there's likely to be a request in the future for the court to consider. It's not related to this agenda item today. It's not, will not be used as a take-home vehicle. The budget order allows the two non-exempt positions to get a stipend when they're on call for 1 week. Eventually will be a request to allow that vehicle to be taken home during that 1 week of the month when they're on call. And the other 3 weeks of the month, they would, personal vehicle coming back.
Here's the only concern, it's something that I think budget is looking at is the usage of vehicles, to have use of them in general, and then as well, even more scrutiny to take it home. And for someone that I would think would go to our building, for any emergency, and I know can't predict those, but we do pay mileage if you have a personal vehicle. So I would just ask that maybe we hold off on this and let it go through budget, and because what we do here will impact budget in the future. Wes, and that was my concern.
Your suggestion is a no action today.
Correct.
Let's put it in the budget consideration.
Correct. And let action.
Because being expeditious and responding to an emergency, to not have to stop off, grab another is a good thing. Especially, how much gas did the last person leave in this car? So I kind of get.
Yeah, as long as they're doing that and not going just to the building that we have emergencies. So I think my request today would just be to hold off on this, not a rush item, and let budget look at it. Okay. Yeah, just hold off on taking any action on this. Keep it where it is on the vehicle, and then let it go through. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
So I want to be clear.
So no action. Well, actually, we
hold on to the asset and do nothing.
Well, just with that one asset.
Gotcha.
The rest of it I'll move to approve, but just that one vehicle, hold off taking action. Yeah, so if there was anything else that needed to go. So then hold off on that one.
All right, item number 28, discussion and take appropriate action on recognizing the Williamson County Historic Commission's Distinguished Service Award for 2020. Commissioner Kobe.
We are excited to have some folks here with us today that have continued to serve us in the county, and I think they do a lot of things that we just don't even hear about, but they're wonderful for our community, and so we wanted to put this on the agenda. Excuse me. As well, I'm really pleased to announce that the Williamson County Historical Commission has earned the Distinguished Service Award for your actions here in 2020, the year of service to 2020. And there are not that many given out throughout the state. And so congratulations on earning that award. We really appreciate it. I've got a couple things. Rachel, where are you? Where is that? Rachel from my office, my executive assistant, serves on this, but and she tells me a lot of good things about you guys. I want to just mention a couple of things, and then if you'd like to come up and I want to take a picture before we're done. The chair is here, and I want her to come up and say a few words. But they hosted a speaker series highlighting Jesse Daniel Ames for the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote. The cemetery restoration volunteers continue working at Noack and Mountain cemeteries, and they've logged hundreds of hours of volunteering. And that's an ongoing, not just mowing and trimming, but trying to look at headstones and fix those. And that's just an ongoing process. So I really want to thank you. Those are just two of the many things that you guys do. Besides just a wealth of information about the history in our county, which is so important to remember and keep on the forefront, especially with so many people moving here. So would you like to come up and introduce the group as a group, I guess, and we want to take a picture and say a few words, Noe? Very proud of our group. Take a picture during the pandemic because we kept right on working. And we would you yes, closer, but also take them. Oh, I'll always recognize the chairman of Williamson County Historical Commission, and we've kept right on working during the pandemic. Every meeting we've had. Previously by teleconference, we had a forum. We've met the last couple of times, again, with forums. Our cemetery committee has just been fabulous and working all over the county on mostly, we call it forgotten cemeteries. We don't like to use the word abandoned, but some of them can. And finding the cemeteries. The treasures of Williamson County before they are gone, to have the old stories about developing Williamson County during the early era. And we've just really done a lot of good work, and I'm very proud of everybody. And I know we're delighted that the Texas Historical. Well, it's well deserved, and I don't know if we need to take action on this, but I will approve the record.
Motion by Commissioner Covey, a second by Commissioner Long. 28. Thank you for letting us do our job. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. All right.
I'm going to pop up to the group for a photo.
Drop between these two guys right here. There we go.
All right, everybody smiling. Beautiful faces.
Oh, got mine.
Okay. Got yours? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Before you guys step off, I do want to say it's really important that we take care of our citizens in Williamson County, those that are alive and even those that have passed, and that we honor them with dignity and respect. It doesn't matter if you passed last week or you passed 200 years ago. If you have a cemetery and a grave, it's important that we take care of you and honor you. And I know often that you go to cemeteries and you're brokenhearted because headstones are broken and they're uncared for. What you're doing is really important. You're honoring our Texas and you're honoring our citizens. And there are many things that you do way beyond that. But the fact that you would care for someone that no one else chooses to care for is deeply appreciated by this company. I just want to say thank you for your service to Williamson County And I would go with you, but chiggers and poison ivy do not do well by this judge. And I understand that you guys can find that very consistent. God bless you guys.
Thank you all very much. And congratulations. Okay, item 29, I'd like to invite Kelly McCaffrey, Executive Director of Life Steps, up to the podium. There's an event this Saturday we'd like to give exposure to that's focused on our youth, and we know this pandemic has made the mental health issues of our youth brought it right to the forefront.
Thank you, Commissioner Cook. So again, Kelly McCaffrey, Executive Director for Life Steps Council on Alcohol and Drugs. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for letting me be here. And so for almost 43 years, Life Steps Council on Alcohol and Drugs has worked to improve our community's health, safety, and well-being to create a safe, supportive, drug-free community with healthy and nurturing families. And so during the pandemic, many of us, including our youth, including myself, experienced an increase in stress, social isolation, and anxiety. And so what we decided to do, what we've been focusing on truly for the past almost 2 years now, is building a strong family unit. And the reason why we're trying to focus on building a strong family unit is to increase protective factors and increase in individual self-efficacy for them to be resilient for different stressors and trauma that we all face on a daily basis. And so Life Steps is partnering with Rock Springs Hospital and several other community partners to host our first and hopefully our annual Family Summer Fest for Williamson County families. So as we all enter 2021, many of us still feeling isolated from our community and from our peers. There are many reasons as to why hosting such an event is critical and necessary. I promise I will keep this very brief for you all. But youth age 7 to 15 are at a unique and formative time. They're experiencing multiple physical, emotional, and social changes, including exposure to poverty, abuse, violence, or other factors of trauma, which can make adolescents vulnerable to mental health problems. Promoting psychological well-being and promoting adolescents from adverse experiences and risk factors may impact their potential to thrive are critical for their well-being during adolescence and for their physical and mental health in adulthood. Some adolescents are at a greater risk of mental health conditions because of their living conditions, stigma, discrimination, or exclusion, or lack of access to quality support and services. These include adolescents living in humanitarian and fragile settings, adolescents with chronic illness, individuals living with autism spectrum disorder, individuals living with an intellectual disability or other neurological conditions, pregnant adolescents, adolescent parents, orphans, and adolescents from minority, ethnic, or sexual backgrounds or other discriminated groups. Adolescents with mental health conditions are in turn particularly vulnerable to social exclusion, discrimination, other forms of stigma, educational difficulties, risk-taking behaviors, and poor physical health. Many risk-taking behaviors for health, such as substance use, start during adolescence. Risk-taking behaviors can be both an unhelpful strategy to cope with poor mental health and can severely impact an adolescent's mental and physical well-being. And we've seen an uptick in alcohol use and other forms of substance use during the pandemic. So there's an old saying that goes, families that play together stay together. And we all know that quality time with our family is paramount to building stronger relationships. So family bonding time builds confidence. It teaches our youth about interacting with others, and it creates wonderful memories that last a lifetime. I know many of us can pull memories from our childhood that stick with us, and probably some traditions that we've passed on to our families. And for me, it was our Friday night family pizza night. We had pizza, we watched a movie, but that was my family time that we had. And so what we are trying to do as an organization is to build more family times, build more memories, to really increase those protective factors for our youth. So studies show that when families spend quality time together, the chance of youth getting involved in dangerous activities drops dramatically. So that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm here talking about this event. On behalf of Life Steps, my scribble. So on behalf of Life Steps, I'm here to invite you all to attend our Family Summer Fest this Saturday. So it's Saturday, July 24th, to come out, join us, Rock Springs Hospital, and our other community partners for this free event. So the event is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Rock Springs Hospital. It is an outside event in the parking lot. In case you don't have the address, it is 700 South. And it's a free event. So with this free event, there will be local organizations with lots of information available to parents, to caretakers, and of course to youth. There will be food, there will be non-alcoholic drinks, and door prizes. And so we have a list of really cool door prizes that I'm excited and really grateful for a lot of our partners and our donors who are supporting this event. So families can register ahead of time. It's on Eventbrite, and if you come across our flyer, there's a QR code on our flyer that will take you directly to that event registration. The flyer was included in the agenda, but I also have some copies. Like one. But what we're asking is to register ahead of time so that we have a better head count of who may be there. But come with a smile, come with comfy shoes, and come with an energy to play some fun, to play some games, have fun, and spend some time with your family and with our families. Come rain or shine, I will be there on Saturday with my family, and I hope to see you all there with yours.
Social media. Stats on Facebook.
Yes, so we have been posting it on both Facebook and Instagram, and so I can also, we've just honestly recently redid our website, so it's not on our website, but it is on Facebook. Yes, it's Lifestyle Council. Thank you all.
Discuss take appropriate action for compensation. Counties. 57. I believe Scott and Nate and Connie served together on the committee. They continue to serve, and we're grateful for your continued service.
Scott Hazelmeyer, Wiggs County Treasurer. Thank you, Judge. Yes, our committee is Nate and Connie and I. Connie and I are here to look good, and Nate did all the work. But for some reason, they've asked me to come up and talk. I'm not sure why that would be. So this is a process actually that started a few years ago. We discussed having a consultant to approve our 457B plan. At the time, there were not proposals that we were satisfied with. Something has happened in the intervening year and a half that probably delayed things a little bit. And unfortunately, I appreciate Commissioner Long kind of bringing this back to the county's attention. And when we formed this committee, we started looking at where we are and how we can improve. And I think there are three primary goals. First and foremost is to increase awareness amongst our county employees of the advantages of participating in this program and hopefully increasing participation. Second is going to be increasing the options that our employees have under the program. And then third is going to be to minimize the cost both to the county and to our employees. So through this process, we've had conversations with Nationwide. We've also looked at what other counties and such are doing, and we think that we have come to a good solution that improves in all three of those areas. And again, this is largely thanks to Nate's conversations with Nationwide that we've gotten where we are today. So I'm going to give the major bullet points, and then I can do my best to answer any questions without trying to get too far into specific weeds. But the first thing we're going to do is increase options for our employees. Most importantly, we're going to add a Roth investment option to the 457B plan. And that is a very good option, especially for some of our younger employees starting out. We are also, I'm going to skip number 2 because that goes to a different priority. We're also going to add index principal protection options. That is a good option for some of our employees who are getting closer to retirement to consider protection of the principal that they've gained over years. We're also going to add a personal choice retirement account option that gives the employees more flexibility in how they can invest their money that's in the program. Finally, on increasing options, we're adding a target date fund available for employees. So all of those things. So that allows folks to really target, their investment toward the retirement date. It adds some principal protection, minimizes
Does
risk.
it mean automatically it might be balanced or rebalanced on target basis?
Little above my detailed knowledge, but in very basic terms, it does some of that. It provides some. The goal of those is to allow the participants to have principal protection and minimize their risk while still having the availability to get returns and increase what they're getting. Those particular things are really tailored toward participants who are getting close to retirement and don't want to take any sort of risk on their principal. Going back to bullet point number 2, the second thing that we've really focused on is decreasing cost, both to the participants and to the county, and saying 50-50-50 to 15-15-15 doesn't mean a whole lot, but basically we're reducing costs on those variables from 50 basis points down to 15. What you're looking at is about a third of the cost overall for us. In doing that, there's a fixed rate account that was currently earning a little more than 2%. The trade-off to a reduced cost is to reduce that fixed rate account down to 2%. That's not a large portion of what any of our participants have their money in, so we feel that that's a fair trade-off. At the end of the day, what we found is that reduces costs for us, and then hiring an outside consultant to look at some of these things, the cost of doing that would not gain us enough additional savings to make that worthwhile. So those are the things that we're proposing to do. I think the detailed agreement was in your package as well. And Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're administrator on that. You're actually the person that signs that agreement. Okay. So, any questions?
To summarize, and I appreciate the committee being voluntold to do this and y'all's hard work, because at the end of the day, it's a voluntary program that our employees have an option to opt into, but it does give them lower rates, more options, and in particular a Roth option, which was not available for that. So I really appreciate you all doing this and particularly for your hard work on that. And I know that working with our early our enrollment for benefits, we're going to try to look in the end to make sure our employees know of this, both when they come on board, but also each year, just to remind them, because it, particularly to your point, involved with some of our younger, further from retirement employees. So, thank you for your work, and I move approval of the recommendations for the 457.
There's a motion by Commissioner Long and a second by Commissioner Covey. Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
The time is 10:06 a.m. We are going to recess from regular commissioners' court to move into our road district meeting at 10:06 a.m. here on June the 20th.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Can we highlight for
Thank you for everyone. Probably a second by all those in favor. Passes 5-0. Please forgive me.
That's fine.
4-0.
And item 2 is the collection report, which the month of June is attached for your review.
There's a motion by Commissioner Long and a second by Commissioner Covey to mutual report. All those in favor? Passes.
Move approval of, the payment of bills on item number.
There's a motion by Commissioner Long on item 3. There's a second by Commissioner Cook. All those in favor? Passes.
And under item number 4, we have Gary Kimball here with our financial advisors, Specialized Public Finance, to explain the agenda item regarding issuing debt to the Somerset District.
Julie, Judge, members of the court, Gary Kimball with Specialized Public Finance. Good morning. We've got our second installment of road bonds for the Somerset number 4 road district on your agenda today for consideration. We need to authorize the preliminary official statement for posting so that we can get into the market on the 16th of August. We'll be back for you on the 17th for the actual request to approve the sale of the bonds. We've had a significant continued increase in the tax base. Our plan is that, every year we will need to issue bonds based on whatever additional tax base has been added so that we can peg the tax rate at the maximum 29 cents until all bonds are issued, at which point we would expect the tax rate to begin to drop similar to the other road districts that the county operates. That'll maximize the reimbursements available to the county and to the developer who's putting in the road infrastructure in that district. We've got approximately 400 homes completed in that district at this point. We expect over 1,500 homes at full build out. So, I'm guessing another 5 years or so of development before we're done. So we'll probably be back in front of you each of the next 5 years with additional road bond issuance.
Just to remind the court and others that these road district is to pay back the county for building some of Reagan. Some of the costs, not all the costs, but some of the costs of Reagan between 195 and Williams Drive.
That's correct. And so we do have a split allocation on this particular series of bonds. In total, approximately $5.85 million of bonds. About a third of that is developer reimbursements, and 2/3 would go to the county.
I guess another. It allowed the residents that use that road and for it versus across the county. For the targeted improvement in specific areas and allows the residents to use it to pay for it versus a local county.
And just to maybe follow up on that point, Julie and I were talking about Avery Ranch just an hour ago or so. That district started off with a tax rate of 27.5 cents. We're probably going to be recommending a tax rate below 7 cents when the county considers the budget in the coming month or so. So if it all goes as planned, and so far all the road districts have operated according to plan, we start at a certain set rate. We issue the debt according to whatever the tax base will support. We pay for those road reimbursements, and then the tax rate will begin to drop. And ultimately, Avery will pay off all of its debt in 4 years, and then that district will be dissolved.
Yeah, we're just starting kind of on that.
That's correct, yeah.
The only thing I might correct, Gary, is that the homes could be completed in the next 3 years. Speed in which they're building locally. So
Could be that.
it could be faster.
Oh yeah, won't surprise me a bit. I don't want to overshoot and get too aggressive, but yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Well, they can't find lumber right now, so it's good.
They're adding hundreds of homes a year.
So very obviously the additional value added is one thing. And then there's the price point of these homes, the valuation on that whole, right? And so when you look at your calculation to see what the tax rate should be, consider those factors.
We did, yeah.
And then if they were to change and for some reason go down, as we have seen it in the past, then you would consider that also. And I ask that mainly because the county did help build this road knowing that we were going to get paid back. I mean, because it was supposed to be developer driven and we stepped in, but that's why we have our name on the payback list so that we can do that. I just want to make sure that we don't reduce it to a point where then we wouldn't get paid back. So,
Yeah, that's the point of trying to manage the tax rate at the full allowable 29 cents until all bonds are issued. At that point, we would begin to drift it down. We use two mechanisms basically to keep us at the 29 cents until all bonds are issued, and that is we fund debt service reserve funds out of these bond issue proceeds to give us the ability to adjust based on what the valuation ends up coming in at. But we also get a mid-year valuation, which is a little unusual to help us kind of fine tune our calculations. So we've got the number from Williamson County Appraisal District as of January 1, but we've also got a June 14th estimated value that helps us really try to home in on, the calculation as fine as we can.
thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, is there a
I'll
motion?
move to
There's a motion by Commissioner Long. There's a second.
Kobe, and I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Long. I mean, Kobe,
Commissioner Covey makes the motion.
Commissioner.
Mr. Cook, second.
On item number 4. All right, any other additions, corrections, or fixes for this judge? That being seen, all those in favor? This is 4. All right. This concludes our road district meeting at 10:13 a.m. Gary, thank you for being here with us today. And we will reconvene back into regular commissioners court at 10:13 a.m. And we will move to agenda item number 30. I move the adoption of the agenda.
And I'll second.
There's a second by Commissioner. Any comments? Seeing all those in favor? 4-0. Right. Item 31. We can go all the way through 44 if we have comments. All right, so motion by Commissioner Long and a second by Commissioner Kobe. 2, 3, 4, 7, and 38. Comments? You've seen all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item number 39.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, Joyce Simonton, County Purchasing Agent. Several weeks ago, we requested a report. The purchasing department was asked to report a scope of work to solicit more consulting to help update the Williamson County strategic plan. That scope of work has been drafted and is an attachment in the packet today. I want to also mention in our initial discussions. As we look at these projects, our going to be services is one of work to round up those plans that have been kept up to date throughout the county, and she was successful there. Brought forward a lot of different documentation. So now that we have line of sight to that, I'm going to adjust my budget downward for you on this project. Ish, $100,000 ish. We need to allocate that for FY22, but staff seeks direction from the court today. The document presented, will that scope of work accomplish what the court's looking to do, and then also who the court wishes to have on that selection committee, as we will shortlist and
We thank you for your hard work on this, and I appreciate the work that and the cooperation between the departments to provide us the information so we could get a good starting point. I don't really have a problem. I like the 10 years better than longer term. I think 10 is still a long way out with the things changing so quickly, but it gives us a starting point. And I don't really have a problem with the way you've drafted this RFQ, but Mike, I guess and as just in general, thinking about this whole project and having lived through this before as commissioner, I'm really concerned about expectations. And I'll say it that way. I want to make sure that what we're talking about doing, we don't set expectations that are really not going to happen. And this isn't a wish list. This isn't something that, in fact, if you've looked at other entities' long-term plans, they don't talk about how many employees they want or anything like that. It's really more about a policy and strategy. And that's why I'm doing. What'd you say?
Some of them did.
Well, but most of them didn't really. I mean, that might follow the policy discussion, but that wasn't I just want 10 more people or something. That wasn't it. So I'm really thinking about how the commissioners court, who sets policy for the county and also votes on all financial aspects for the county, should be involved in this. And so, and perhaps in the selection of someone, but also after someone is selected, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. If we approve this and we select someone, I think the first step should be, a discussion on policy, kind of like what we do for the budget. We sit at the beginning of budget season and we the five of us talk with Ashley. We talk about different policy ideas. That doesn't mean that we haven't gotten input and that we would look for input from departments and from other elected officials. But it seems like these other plans that I'm reading are really, it's the court that sits down and does the heavy lifting. Now, a lot of our department heads have already put together plans, and I think that those are started from any discussion. And of course, the person that we select would discuss future plans with department heads and elected officials. So I'm not saying that we leave them out, but I am saying that perhaps to set kind of some direction, if you will, so that we're not out there again setting expectations that are not feasibly met. So anyway, that's my suggestion.
One of my questions is around timing. I have subject are quite frankly the beginning of that, but I do think one of the items that you added is suggestion.
I really like the idea that we weigh in at the beginning versus the end, and that we would have a workshop with the consultant.
Well, I'm saying ahead of time.
Right.
So number one, take two different times. Yeah, one is to try to go and make sure that yes, the document what we say second. Because I think it would be very challenging to sit here today and go through each item and say a sort of a workshop.
So part of the concern that I had was timing. I think to have a conversation about the scope of the project in a workshop format probably couldn't happen before September 1st. Unless you guys, we've got a pretty tight schedule in relation to budget. So could we make sure that we have a dollars amount budgeted and then schedule a workshop in September to have a scope discussion? And then once we determine that, Do you guys disagree or do you have a different thought?
I'm fine with that. I think, for it to be meaningful, that discussion has to happen. So, to bring that, you know, start, uh,
And are we all in agreement that then it would be all right to go ahead and set a dollar amount, place amount in the budget?
yes, I think that's a good idea.
Joy, please remind what previously we
Current budget, yeah. So you want another 75 setting your days. So,
Ms. Holiday, could you put aside
like additional 75 to total 100, the total was 71.
where did that help? You think?
Thank you for a while.
And I think that helps us with the budget process too. We're diving into. Anything that we. Yes.
I'll move to approve. Changes.
There's a motion by Commissioner Covey, second by Judge Gravel. Any discussion? Being seen, all those in favor passes 4-0.
Great job.
Did you just give me the Aggie sign? Oh, that little twinge thing.
Director of Human Resources, this one is mine also. This is, we are wrapping up salary study cycle 4A, and whenever we are to that point, we always like to go ahead and put on the position classification for salary study cycle 4B, which is our next one. And so these 76 classifications are the ones that we will review this fall. For approval. I'll second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Covey and a second by Commissioner Cook. Please note that I got it right that time. All those in favor? Pass unanimously.
Thank you. Yes, and elections and county court.
All right. And the telework policy. I believe this is just updating what it existed and removing some of it.
Technology services. We'll keep it short.
Yeah.
Just that departments are really encouraged to add their own policies, specifying days of the week, eligibility. Typically not something.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. We discussed. We do have. First Council. Your city of residence and county of residence.
And so if I just start at that, to clarify, this is, an entity that provided testing services. A while back, they had an additional amount that once we were reconciling invoices, there was about 15,000 more that they were due for those services. This is not new service.
And it's not for going forward.
Right,
It's for
right. It's not going ahead. It's just a clarification, and some outstanding invoices, just so in case that's a question.
I'm glad you clarified. Thank you. So my name is Alexandra Kemp. I'm here in Texas, so Williamson County. And so even with that clarification, that does change the fact that I would say before those payments are made, I think one of the most significant things that needs to be done is creating more transparency in like what exactly is going on, because in January 2021, the World Health Organization came out saying all of the cycles and everything with the testing of these COVID manufacturers, all of them were in it. But the cycles were too high, and there's been significant fraud that has been shown that I personally have evidence of, and people like me have been censored. We've been held back from getting information out. The mainstream media doesn't want to talk about this issue with transparency, and one of the biggest things that I would really encourage and like to see before anything else is paid out is a full-on audit, especially with the Health and Human Services associated with dispersing this stuff and where all these charges came from and how they were used, what all was done, because I have personally seen whistleblower videos of people who were walking through reception areas of the COVID-19 tests, and they were sitting in boxes, and they're like, well, we're supposed to send it off to the lab. So if they're billing us for lab services, and that's what we're still part of the bill that still due, then I would highly encourage a full-on audit and really looking through exactly what all of this was done before these funds are released. Obviously, if the bill is due, yes, we should pay it, but if we're being charged for things, like if that was part of what happened, this person had a video, it's on all the fact channels because it's been censored everywhere, where they literally were showing, like, you know, how they would never go, and they were testifying to it and talking, you know, about how they never even make it to the lab. So those services are never even rendered. And if that's the fact, why are we paying for things that we don't? And that's where I would ask that that be done before this happens.
And to clarify, the bill has been vetted through our auditor's office, so they have verified all the charges.
Okay. I still would like to know more about that, because there's a lot of things that just like just a lack of transparency.
So our audit, the bills that we pay are available. So you can see the backup that what to do. I mean,
where would I find that information?
Online, and the auditors see right behind. So Julie Kyler, sorry, Julie, throw you in the bus then. No, but she can help you if you have a specific question, but they're online.
So is, just for clarification, is that a Williamson County thing that our county specifically does, or is that a legal mandate by our state and or federal? Okay, so that's just, we're awesome and we have.
So we are transparent.
Well, this cancel, it's your tax bill.
That's exactly it, my property tax.
Your property tax.
Yes.
And we hear all the time, oh, it's free money, it's coming from the federal government. Well, the truth is, the reality of who's going to pay for that quote free money is sitting right there. It's your kids, my kids, my grandkids. So we have been very rigorous in that means schools out. We're very rigorous.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you. My name is Lori Gallagher, and I live in Williamson County. I wanted to ask a question about the COVID-19 testing from back then. We have not had a time to address the COVID issues with the county court because we've still been trying to address the election issues that we've had. And so we have a whole additional issue now that we've had this entire time with the health department and locking our churches down and shutting our places of worship down. And this relates to this COVID. Do y'all plan on doing additional vaccine testing drive-throughs?
What I can tell you, Ms. Gallagher, is I'm very proud that our governor signed a bill days ago, making it unlawful to shut down churches in Texas ever again. I'm proud of the leadership of Governor Abbott and his team. And I think through GA 34, which is the newest orders by the governor, the local authorities are very restricted. Now, your question specifically was, do we as a county plan on doing vaccinations again? And the answer to your question is no. As of yesterday, we have 50 different locations in Williamson County that people can go get vaccinated. And if you choose to get vaccinated, go. And if you choose not to get vaccinated, then don't go. But don't be critical of others. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, that does. And also, I'd like to wonder if we can get some, would the auditor work with us if we have questions and would like documents based off of some of these testing and whatnot?
You are free to do the open records request just like anyone else and direct those to our auditor's office, and you'll find that they are highly responsive.
Well, we're seeing a lot on the news locally that hospital in Williamson County specifically, that testing is coming back higher, and that I think they're using the words uncontrolled, rampant, and things like that. So there's a lot of concern from my friends and my neighbors that y'all are planning to make decisions to shut our churches down or to put these drive-throughs and testing.
Let me say this as your county judge. The only person that has the authority to do that in this room is this county judge. And the governor says that I don't have the authority to do that. That's unlawful. So I want you to hear me. Churches are not going to be shut down, period, in Williamson County. And I want you to hear me, Ms. Gallagher. It is not the plan of this county judge to shut down local businesses. We have to figure out how to survive with COVID. We have to figure out how to keep people alive and safe and our economy forward. We are not shutting anything down.
So you have no plans on shutting any businesses down any longer and doing any of those lockdowns or orders?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you.
All right.
Judge Burmel, Julie Crowley, First Assistant County Auditor. If I could just clarify one thing, I welcome all open records requests. You can find the ability to do that on our county website. They'll be directed through the county attorney's office and then delivered to our office for response.
Comment about where they go first.
There is a page, if you go to the county website, wilco.org, look under departments for the county auditor's page. There is a financial page that has financial reports, and you can find all of the bills that have been paid by the county on that page. Thank you.
All right. I move the adoption of item number 44. Second by Commissioner Cook. Any other discussion? None being seen. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. On items number 45 and 46, Commissioner Long, if you would take the lead on this, and then also I'd like to hear from Ms. Pierce following that, if that's possible.
Sure. Items 45 and 46 stem out of the item back in. That's what was going on. Relationship. And Kathy Pierce, I think you spin it from Round Rock for the initial appointees, and then that was subsequently expanded to include some of the assistant Georgetown and Cedar Park. And Round Rock was already on it. And they did that for a good while, for different times. Issues and so very active in that on Kathy and laying out where we are today with these two agenda items.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Kathy Pierce, Executive Assistant to Commissioner Cynthia Long, Precinct 2. Commissioner laid it out well. The group expanded and what we can do just to make sure that we are able to, as a county, to address COVID and to be able to have the best public health possible. A recommendation was a revision to the co-op agreement, which is on the agenda today and attached. It changes the health district is governed by the member districts, the member governments, who each represent an appointed board member for that district board. And with that, if a majority of those member governments, when they take action, or if they take action, when they discuss it, if a majority of those member governments choose to approve the new cooperative agreement, then the board representative would be a staff position, a staff person, as which would really help with the conduit of communication directly to that member government. So that's the
nuts and bolts of the change recommended in item number 45 is giving city participants the opportunity. Health district does so many really valuable things that I don't want to shortchange. I mean, our board members have done an incredible job in volunteers, and they had their own jobs that were their lives, and then it's about all this craziness of the last year and a half. So I certainly don't want to shortchange the Marlene McMichael and Joanne Lincoln. So thank service. Should we approve this? Not to play us being able to those two positions.
So that's what I was going to ask.
And then
We currently have 2 board members, and so that number of representation is not going to change based on what I read.
And in fact, one of the members that we appoint will appoint as the chairperson.
And that's all.
Is that the only change, Commissioner? Is just the makeup of the board?
And it's, yeah, I mean,
That's only today. That's the only thing for action today.
Well, go ahead and lay out the
And then also our population is just exploding, as we heard with the road district. It might be less than 3 years when the Summerlin district is built out, and we have to be able to make sure we have the best facility to take care of public health. And so in order to do that, we need to make sure that we look at it, and everybody has agreed, or that we've talked about on our subcommittee, is that let's do an assessment. There's an MOU that we would like to have an assessment of the health district to look at all the programs that are provided. And as Commissioner said, there's a bunch in addition to the COVID that they do that are very important to our communities. And so we just want to look at that and make sure that we're in the best position to be able to provide the best public health possible for our county. And that's what the MOU is agreed to.
So I appreciate that. And this would start when?
So this couldn't start until 5 cities, right?
Are we the lead?
Yes, Judge.
So the amendment takes effect on passage by a majority of the members, so you're correct. And so the effective date will be inserted in the amendment. And that's
at the same time, only a third of the board members can turn over a year. So, their plans, I don't know how that works.
I've seen other boards. Just draw numbers. Right. Well, one of our two may not go at the same time. Maybe there would be different years. I would hope.
Be replacing either group.
Yeah.
There are a couple of thoughts that I'd like to share. The pandemic has shown us that it's incredibly critical that we have an extremely close and seamless communication between the health district and its government members, because they're providing an essential service to our community. This change in agreement affords us the opportunity to streamline that communication. It also, and equally, it's just as important that these essential services continue to be provided in a manner that align with our core values and the core values of our residents. Our community is growing tremendously, and we in other sectors, such as road and bridge and facilities and many of our elected offices, we often assess where we're at and look at where we may need to go. And I think these changes are healthy. I think they're important to streamline the communication, but I also think that we have to be visionary in where we're going as a health district. I especially want to say thank you to our board members that there was not a more difficult volunteer job in the entire country during a global pandemic than to be a member of the health district board during COVID. And I'm grateful to all of them from all of the cities. These changes are important, they're appropriate, and they're timely. And I move the adoption of items number 45 and 46.
I second.
Motion
All right,
second.
motion is second. I'm concerned about the potential chaos that can happen when all of a sudden it's a brand new board of people who've not been involved in the history of what's been going on, the decision process, policies, HIPAA, all that stuff that comes into play, that we use some sort of a workshop or something to bring any new acquaintances kind of up.
I think that's
before they swap in place.
Good idea.
I think that's a great
Because this is not the time for that. It's happening right in the pandemic.
And Commissioner, can I share a thought? Because I've been reflecting on it this morning before this meeting. It's going to be important, and I have in mind the two folks that are in the service, or should the other cities pass this. But both of those individuals and we need that representing us, but we need some folks that have some knowledge base there. So to your point.
And the other statement I want to make is that nothing that the health district board today has done has been behind doors, essentially, that affected all of us. The minutes always were available, but it is slower to go dig and get information, pull it in, than have somebody standing at the door and right, or it's going to happen. And so I think it is important to have that verbal interchange with somebody. And I feel like they could have established it with the existing board members. There's with their respective neighborhood.
So I want to, just first of all, I've experienced the work that our guys did in the health district at clinics as they were trying to immunize folks during the COVID time, and they worked really hard, and they worked with some folks that were waiting in long lines and trying to make it work, and they did an excellent job, and I want to say thank you to them. Also to those that have represented us. You worked tirelessly, and we didn't pay you a dime, and thank you for doing that. Marlene comes to mind. She served for a number of years, and I really, really appreciate her service, as well as Ms. Lands, that both of them and the others that serve the cities. But, you know, I appreciate what we're trying to do here. I don't want it to think that we don't appreciate those that have served and our workers at the health district. Sometimes when things like this are discussed, there's angst because of fear of things like that. That's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is what I'm hearing you say, suggesting, and this motion is so that we can change the makeup of the board in a fashion, but not, and then evaluate the things that they're doing to make sure that, just like we're talking about for future plans for the county, this is one aspect of that, and a very important aspect as we've seen going through this last year. So I just want to make those comments.
And use your motion for 45 and 46.
Yes. All right. Any other words? Kathy, thank you for your hard work. I know you and Andy have done a great job. Just really great team approach, hard work, and humility. There's a motion by myself, a second by Commissioner Wall. Those in favor? Passes unanimously for.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners.
All right. I don't believe we have any action at this time. I don't believe there's any action for item 48. However, I do have two ladies signed up to speak to item number 48. See how Mr. David is. Rita, you go first. You go second. Oh, that was smooth. I like that.
My name is Rita Chen, and my business resides at Williamson County. I just want to say thank you for Williamson County, and thank you to the Commissioner, and thank you for Judge Gravel for all your services. And we are not opposed to PSH, but buying a hotel is not the right choice. Hotel is not for PSH, because you see, other state is stopped doing that because it didn't work. It just wastes taxpayers' money. And there must be other way we can help the people. It must be, we can do a helping hand as an individual and a community. And I just want to say thank you for the Williamson County support. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Frida.
Thank you, Judge Gravel. Thank you for everything.
RuPaul, you're next. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. RuPaul Chaudhary. I work in Williamson County, and I can't tell you, just hearing and being here today, I really feel the gratitude of my husband and family owning business in Williamson County. It's been a saving grace, and we are very, very thankful that the way y'all have supported small business and continue to support small businesses. The theme today I was going to bring is communication, which ties in very well today. Williamson County has been nothing but communicative and has taken community input all the way around. I usually get answers to my questions right away. And speaking of that, I wanted to bring about Austin City's guideline for PSH, what they call for. It says the city and ECHO will attend neighborhood and community meetings and discuss concerns with area residents. ECHO staff and on-site providers will work with neighbors, city departments to ensure neighborhood concerns. I can assure you that did not happen. One of the reasons why we are here today is because of communication and no input from the community. We had to protest and start a grassroots movement for us to get any meetings with mayor and other council members. Exception would be Ms. Kelly. She has always answered and communicated. We had one flimsy town hall meeting, 1 hour right before the vote. 200 members, 4 questions were answered. And it's just a checkbox that was marked saying we communicated. The communication is where the community is given a choice to speak their concerns, not when you present for 50 minutes and answer 4 questions. Similar situation happened in District 2. I went and attended Vanessa Ponta's community town hall meeting because I had to learn what town hall is about. And I figured, if I didn't get my chance in District 6, I'm going to go knocking on District 2 because that's what I do these days. But similar concept, 50 minutes, 4, 5 questions answered, and they on Twitter say it was a successful town hall meeting. But then I thought maybe I need to do a town hall now. So on this Saturday, July 24th, we are doing the real town hall meeting, and everyone is invited. We are in Williamson County, so I highly ask all the residents, all the citizens of Williamson County, please join the real town hall meeting. Give your concerns.
I would really appreciate a link to the real town hall meeting.
It's on stuffcanwood.com. It's already posted there. It's on Twitter, and I will be sending the Zoom meeting also for the real town hall.
At what time is that?
It's at 10 in the morning.
Saturday morning.
10.
So you're doing that virtually or is there?
It's in person, and we will send out virtual, but we want to bring in people because I think we all have something to share and give input to the city saying what a real town hall looks like.
We're going to live stream that?
Yes, we will be live streaming that too.
So really what you're doing here is a model to the city of Austin on actually how to have interaction with its constituents and listen to your residents. Do I understand that correctly?
That's absolutely correct because we felt we were unheard. Nobody should have to start a grassroots movement. This is not what we're supposed to. We should be focusing after COVID, getting back on our feet and helping the businesses, not trying to destroy the community and businesses with no plan. So,
thank you. Rupo, I want to mention one thing to you. I'm excited for the town hall. My wife and I last week had an opportunity to be in St. Louis for a few days, and it was nice. It was refreshing. But do you know what I noticed in St. Louis? Yeah, they didn't have the challenge dealing with homelessness. Isn't that interesting? Downtown at night, major city, and I just thought that profoundly interesting. And businesses were flourishing. Patrons weren't scared. And you could see a national line. I thought that was very interesting. I wish our Austin.
I think we all need to come together, speak up because voices matter. And the themes that we have seen all along, especially me starting the grassroots movement. Most people have told me, you're wasting your time. And I can tell you, I'm not wasting my time. I feel we all need to come together. And again, the challenge has never been not to help the homeless, but it's chaos right now. We can't breathe and can't survive in chaos, can't survive where public safety is a challenge, can't survive when we have to wonder whether we'll be able to operate successfully the business next day or what's the fate. That should never be a question.
You shouldn't have to operate your business in fear, should you?
No. I just want to take 1 second. Somebody just asked a question. So the town hall is on July 24th, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at Homewood Suites. The address is 10809 Pecan Park Boulevard, Austin, Texas 78750. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, Mr. Gray, I believe.
Good morning, Robert Day, Senior Director of Infrastructure for Williamson County. Construction summaries included in the minutes already as part of the agenda. Staff recommends approval of items 51 through 51 through 64, excluding 60.
I'd like to also exclude 60 just for, and I'll move to approve items 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. 69, 61, 63, and 60.
There's a motion by Commissioner Cody as stated. I'll second that motion. All those in favor? Passes 4-0. Now we go to item 62.
Well, 60, we pulled 60 off.
60, I said the wrong one.
62.
So 60 is the one.
Yeah, 60, it says on here it says Williamson County Parkland, and
So let me explain that.
yeah.
So there are 2 or 3 tracks on the southern side of that that are required to use in the looking at that one allows it to pull into the park, but it also allows us to cul-de-sac that road on the north side and say.
Yeah. I think you're paying for it with park bond money
I'm not sure.
and not road money. And so it's going to be part of the park plan. And you have the money in park bonds to do that. I assume. Since Russell's not here, I'm assuming.
We're spending it. Russell's not.
Okay, there he is. Okay. All right, just to clarify that, because it's under your item. It says park. Okay.
Yes, I
Okay.
All right, is there a motion on item 60, please? There's a motion by Commissioner Long, there's a second by Commissioner Kobe. Any other discussion? None being seen, all those in favor, passes unanimous. I believe we've completed all of the regular items. We had individuals signed up for public comment on agenda related items. You'll have a minute and 25 seconds to speak. When it is your turn, the first up will be Mr. Boyd Henry. Mr. Boyd Henry, and following Boyd will be Bill Kilberlaw. Mr. Henry is not here. All right, Bill Kilberlaw, you will be next. And then Abigail Campo will follow Mr. Kilberlaw. And following Abigail will be Colin Klein. That readjusts the time as one missing. Yeah, it probably does, Bill. So let's do 3 minutes and 40 seconds. That sounds good. A minute and 40 seconds. Does that sound good? Minute and 40 seconds. Go ahead, Bill.
First time in Bill Carroll, Williamson County, 6th generation Texas retired Navy captain. Interesting comments last week by a lady complaining about fireworks. Fireworks are really kind of a celebration of our military and how they sacrificed for us for our liberties. Reminds me of a letter from my father to my mother in 1945 when he was talking about his travels. December 16th, 44, arrived at Helsingborg Ridge. Following morning, all hell broke loose. We all went to the front line and held. Silver Star and Purple Heart. He was describing the Battle of the Bulge, and Helsingborg Ridge was the point where the German Panzer tanks attacked to resupply the battle. Field artillery and infantry held them, and 10 days later they left the scene. But on one of those days, the 38th Field Artillery, where he was in, they fired over 7,000 rounds just from that one unit alone. That's an artillery shell exploding every 2.8 seconds. Imagine the rest of the battle. But servicemen died in that battle because they froze to death. It was below freezing every day. Chosen frozen Korea, all in all. Bronze Star for saving his smash unit when they were overrun by the Chinese in the Korean War. Again, minus 20 degrees, our servicemen were dying because they froze to death. It's important to remember that we honor our servicemen who died for your liberties and keep that statue as a memory of the crimes of our politicians who started these wars. Thank you.
Are you Abigail?
Yes.
I'm going to help solve your problem. I know what your mom's working. What's this, Judge? I'm very resourceful. Again, I'm a grandfather.
Yes.
Okay. So we were trying to solve a problem that didn't exist. She's taller than you.
She really quite literally is. Very almost.
And let me tell you what I proposed today, what city or county or sign. Your time again, and I want to thank you for being here.
My name is Abigail Campbell, daughter of Alexander Campbell, and I live in Williams County, Texas.
That's
all I know. I don't really focus where I live.
Okay, Abby, go into the next.
And when I started school, we had to wear masks. And every time I got on the bus in the morning, I felt nauseous and sick wearing the mask. When I got home and took it off, I felt fine, but I felt nauseous and sick wearing it. And I didn't know what it was until I was coughing, sneezing, and my head was hurting in the middle of school, and I had to, most of the time, I had to miss out the rest of my school year. At home. I was online doing homework, but I wasn't in school because I didn't want to wear a mask. I felt nauseous and sick. But 3 days, I went to this little empty room where no one went. For 3 days, they discussed it as I can stay here at school with no mask on or go home and stay home. And after 3 days, I have to wear a mask at school or I'm not allowed to go. So I stayed home and, I did online and stuff. So I missed all my fun activities at school and I stayed home like the rest of the school year. I went on field day, but the rest of the school year, I never got to go in person.
Abigail, what grade are you going into?
I'm going to 5th grade right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We don't normally talk to the folks that make public comment because the law really tells us that we can't. So I don't want to talk to you about what you said, but I want to say something different to you. There are not many 5th graders that I have ever met that are as intelligent as you, or as articulate as you, or as bold as you. And I am very proud of you being here today. I'm very proud of what you've said. And I think you are a wonderful young lady that will be an amazing woman in Williamson County, Texas someday. And I'm proud that you live here.
Say thank you for no more lockdowns.
Thank you.
For no more
look great yourself.
Say thank you for no more lockdowns. That's what your public comment
Thank
was.
you for no more lockdowns.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, you have Commissioner's Court anytime you want to. All right, next is, I'm going to have that. I apologize. Next is going to be Lori Gallagher after Colin.
Hi, Judge. Hey, this is my first time in the court, so I've last few years have been one heck of a civics lesson for me because I never really paid much attention to politics or anything like that. Just trying to live my life like everyone else for the most part. And also, most people my age are fairly disillusioned and I would say don't feel very much like stakeholders in society. They see as people of the older generations as you're the caretakers, you're the ones that, but I kind of realized the mantle has to be passed eventually, so I better start learning how all this works. But a big reason people are disillusioned with our system, I would say, is because of our electronic voting system. Because no one, and there's everyone my age, the moment you put that by the very fundamental laws of physics, you are opening the doors to so many forms of malfeasance or manipulation. And I guess as I'm new here, and I'm sure this has been a subject of discussion, I'm just curious as to why we're using this system, especially in an age of technology where everything is being hacked on. I mean, I know you're probably aware of cyber warfare that is going on right now, how there's almost nothing that appears to be secure. I'm curious as to why we're so confident this is secure, and I'm sure the election went great, but there's no way for us to know. So how do we know that? So I'm advocating for paper ballots and just creating more systems that are able to be transparent, that we move towards transparency, not away from it. That's it. Thank you very much. Colin Klein, I live in Cedar Park. I represent a political action group out there that's trying to get constitutional people in office. So thank you.
All right, Ms. Gallagher, and then Ms. Campo, and then finally Mr. Turner.
Okay, hi. I would like to make a public comment, and it's Lauren Gallagher, Williamson County. Illinois. Okay, Representative Stephen Todd has introduced a bill for forensic audits in Texas. And in that bill, he asks that Williamson County receive a full and independent forensic audit. I would hope that y'all would support that bill for a full independent forensic audit here. But not only has that happened, but as you know, for the last 10 months, we've conducted a citizen audit on our public records here. And what we have found are our records are not acceptable. They would not be acceptable if I were to turn my taxes in that way. They would not be acceptable if I was to turn anything into anybody of significance. Our records are a mess. But so that model here in Williamson County, and then that's happened across the country. They now have over 100,000 citizen auditors across the country that are doing public information act requests and being organized by some of the smartest minds in the country. And they are now citizen auditing every county in the United States. And so we hope that y'all would support transparency, accountability, and accuracy, and hold a executive election commission hearing so that we may present to you properly the results of our citizen audit. Would you be open for that?
I have one question.
Yes.
What is your daughter's name?
It's Ella.
Ella. Hi, Ella. Thank you for being here today. Next up is Ms. Campbell.
My name is Allison. So my public comment here today is to request that a committee be drafted up or some sort of full-on investigation of transparency into the COVID-19 vaccines that were being dispensed into our community. The reason I am putting this information forward is there has been a flood of doctors who brought forth significant science and research that actually shows the different harms that people are not transparency of what is actually how they operate in the system, and all of that information has been had. Like yesterday, it's all of them. America's Frontline Doctors are suing the last name is Sarah, which was business person. How many of Sarah? The health director for the White House that was recently appointed because they had a CDC whistleblower who stated they know of at least 45,000 Americans who are dead because of receiving the COVID-19 jab, virtually for 3 different conditions. And that's when so many people are not understanding what is going on. I know personally people who had family members who were completely healthy, now they're all having aneurysms, a lot of them have dead one of her cousins was nursing when she got it. Both the mom and the baby started having significant issues with blood clotting. The state of Louisiana, the AG, quite literally about a month ago, wrote a letter begging that the pediatric vaccination campaign stop because there was hundreds of cases of young boys who were showing up with myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart, or other inflammation-related diseases. So people are not being educated with full transparency that this is it. I asked that the guys put forth a submission, and I have all the information. And
Thank you. Your time is up, Mr. Turner.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, good morning to you. County Graves has been paid by this, and I've lived here in Georgetown for the last 27 years. Today's Lincoln County hero, for whom that Confederate statue honors, is James Henry Fabian, who was born near Parrotsville, Tennessee, on August 30th, 1844. He was almost 17 years old when he enlisted in the first Confederate company formed by Cook County when the Civil War broke out in April 1861, and he enlisted as a private in Company C, 26th Tennessee Infantry. He was captured at Fort Donelson in the Cumberland River and sent to Camp Morton, Indiana, where he remained until September 1862, when he was among the prisoners exchanged at Vicksburg, Mississippi. He and his regiment were again mustered into service and took part in all the major battles in Middle Tennessee, including the Atlanta campaign and the Franklin and Nashville battles. James Henry accompanied his father to Texas in September 1865, riding an old army mule all the way while his father traveled in an old buggy. He lived with his family on his uncle's John's place near Baghdad. In 1873, James was elected Justice of the Peace and County Commissioner. He served as a constable, a school trustee, and was a pioneer in fine stock raising. At two different times, he operated newspapers at Liberty Hill, Leander, and Marble Falls. He was elected to the Texas State Legislature and served through 5 sessions. In 1904, he was elected to the Texas State Senate from the 78th District, representing Williamson, Travis, and Burnett counties. He died in Leander on June 9, 1930, and is buried in the Baghdad Cemetery, lest we forget.
All right, I believe that completes all of our regular agenda items. At this time, we will recess Commissioners Court to executive session at 11:20 p.m. for executive session.